Dennis, thanks very much for joining us. It would be good to get your sense on the outlook for 2022, particularly for the Dutch markets.
In general, we see a strong distinction between the assets that are going to meet, or at least the investors has the intention to meet, sustainable standards, decreasing the carbon footprint. And how we see the market is that if you do not have a certain plan in place to improve your buildings, then you will experience the gap between the sustainable buildings and the, so to say, non-sustainable buildings. We also think that that gap will further widen. All investors want to buy sustainable buildings. All tenants want to lease sustainable buildings. Banks wants to finance sustainable buildings. So those assets that are complying with the new ESG sustainability standards will be in higher demand, will be face more easy relatability, and will be more liquid. So in the end, they will maintain a better value.
And in terms of the sector focus for Berlin Hyp in the Benelux, what are you looking at there? Is that mainly office, logistics? What's your sense of the sectors?
Yeah, the sectors we are focusing on are offices, residential, logistics. That are the three main focuses.
And in terms of the challenges in the market, Dennis, what are you seeing at the moment, particularly for the Dutch market?
Let's start with the residential market. We see a high shortage. There's a huge demand for housing. So at the demand side, there is no real problem, and you can benefit from that. But it's not so easy to develop. We face long permit procedures, so it takes a lot of time to add new stock. So there is a strong focus on the existing stock that will put pressure on the prices. But you also see that there will become an energy efficiency or ESG challenge. And so those residentials also need to comply to a certain energy labels. The recently built units, they will comply, but you also have a lot of outdated residential units. And there again, you need to have a more or less a strategy in place, a business plan in place to ensure yourself as an investor or as a financer, or I think as a tenant as well, that you benefit from a green or sustainable unit for lower energy prices for you as a tenant. But also as a bank, you would like to finance the assets that are also contributing towards your lower carbon footprint portfolio. And the investors in the end, they will face some rental regulations. If you are not complying with new sustainability standards, then perhaps in the nearby future, you can be penalized in terms of the rent you can ask. So everybody has more or less an incentive to focus on.
And Dennis, in terms of the broader market, particularly looking at the real estate investment and financing markets, are you kind of broadly positive in terms of 2022 for the Dutch market?
Yes, we are positive. In general, the Dutch economy is performing pretty well. We have growth. We have a low unemployment rate. We are still attractive for foreign investors as we are in a transparent market. So the outlook on the macroeconomic perspectives are still strong. Of course, on the sideline, we do face the challenge of inflation. Inflation will influence the interest rates. That can influence, of course, asset prices. That our Dutch market is still strong. We as Berlin Hyp, we are still positive in financing within the Dutch Benelux market.
Great. Thanks very much for joining us, Dennis.
Thank you very much, Richard.